welcome to another, or was it day 4 of the 31 Days of Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. This is part of Indie Film Cafe. So welcome back to the channel, or if you the first time here, welcome to the channel. And I have a guest tonight who hasn't been on my shows before or anything, and she was really excited to do this. I don't know after she watched the movie if she was that excited or not, but we'll get to that soon. Please welcome Laura Raczka. Laura.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens all the time. Hey, thanks for having me. Stoked to play along. This is a fun little game.
I think I was so racked up on like figuring out if I'm going to say your last name right that I didn't even like I totally did not even concentrate on saying your first name right.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be something that bothered me when I was younger, but I'm so used to it. It's like Lauren, Lori, Lauren, Laura, who knows?
Right.
I don't know, Lore.
Lore.
And then the last name's complicated, so that's always yeah.
Either way, you're gonna get something, you know.
Always.
But
it seems funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, just imagine how they butchered your name spelling it, you know. Like I can imagine.
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about the 2000 and, well, I think it was made in 2009 and released in 2011 because I have different sources. It says 2009 on Tubi and then 2011 on IMDb. So I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting.
Which year exactly? I think maybe 2011 it came out.
Yeah, I would imagine that's what that means.
Yeah. So 2011 movie, Savage, which I'm actually friends with a few of the people that made it. So
Okay.
I was really excited to revisit this film. And I remembered watching it before, but didn't remember much about what it was about necessarily. So it was interesting to kind of dive into this. This is a movie.
A fun way to put it.
Yeah, so it was a movie that the co-story by DJ Perry, who I know I've interviewed him countless times actually, and Lynn Derzig, and I believe Lynn's sister or something, and a few other people that all know. Bo Buckley produced it. That's the other guy that he's the one who recommended me watching it. And I was like, okay, I could rewatch it. And the funny, interesting thing about, what is it? Basically this is that they did a movie called Into the Woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was produced, or it was directed by Lynn Derzig and starred 2 firemen who went into the woods to deal with the fire, and they discovered some kind of cursed thing that comes after them in the woods. So after watching this again and seeing all the people's connections, I'm like, it's got a little bit of a similar feel to it. This is a little bit more production value. I mean, I thought the fire was pretty cool. Like it looked like a real forest fire. So I was a little worried about it. Like if you're making an independent film, you got to be careful with actually setting the woods on fire themselves. But
right. I wonder how hard that was for them to pull off in production. Like I want to know. Like
I want to know
was
that
Fire
too.
Day for
Maybe I'll get Bo Buckley on my show sometime. He can talk about that because I guarantee he knows a little bit more about it. Or whatever, how hard it was. Or maybe you can answer in the comments down below. Just tell us, anybody who's on the set of that film. But yeah, I honestly was very impressed by the fire to begin with. So I was like, okay, this is starting off pretty good, from my memory. And
I feel like the fire is probably it's up there in my favorite bits.
Right. Yeah. And then it kind of, I think at times it goes down and then sloops back up and then goes down again at many times for as far as the production goes. I was fairly impressed by it all. Like when it's all said and done, I thought it was pretty fun, but I want to hear your take on it. I guess, should we tell them what it's about first, I guess?
Yes, we probably should.
Okay, this is what they wrote on IMDb. So let's see if this a blazing fire rips its way through Bear Valley National Park. As the firefighters try to contain it, the animals are being forced out of their habitat, including a beast that was better left undiscovered.
Now, where is Bear Valley? Do we know? Do we know where that is? I'm gonna look that up
I
because
wonder if that's a real place and they
it
use
might
that.
be. I mean, they make reference to locations several times as far as like where other characters are from, and there's some accents in there, and I'm just like,
I
what?
think
Where are you guys? What is happening?
I think it's in North Carolina, ish area, because they make a reference to North Carolina,
They do,
and I think
but
that's
she's from North Carolina.
I think they shot it there, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If it's in that area, it's in that eastern, area there. I would
Okay.
say, I would say either there or South Carolina. Um,
It looks like there's a Bear Valley National Park in California.
okay, they could have shot it in California. That would that also
Olema,
would.
Olema, California. What is, where
Let me
is
see if
that?
there's
Oh
a.
no, this is not. This is like at Point Reyes. This is NorCal Coastal. This is not the same place. So maybe they just borrowed the name.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, wait. Hold on. Shoot, I thought I saw locations. No, they don't even have the locations. IMDb will tell you locations sometimes.
Oh yeah, if the productions put it in there.
Yeah, they did not. I guess they want you to
Darn.
guess where it is. I mean,
Habitat, legend, forest fire, horror, sci-fi, thriller. Where else? What else? What else we got here? Yeah, no. Okay. Well, some mystery forest location.
some
Uh,
mystery forest location. I swear to God, it's got to be in the southeastern.
yeah, that's
Region.
kind of the vibe I was getting. Like, if you told me that was in the Ozarks, I might believe you.
Right. I
Just
mean,
because.
I'm from Virginia, so
Okay.
like, I'm close by, kind of where this areas might have been. But
Okay. What did you think of the accents in this movie? Because I guess he's a retired officer, like a retired police officer, and now a forest ranger,
hmm
or
yeah, I think
and then
that's
he
what the
kind of
case
gets
is.
back into police work with everything that's going on there. Is the Forest Service that closely involved with the police department there? Like, I don't really know how these super small towns work, so.
I don't even know if they know how these work. When you think about, like, I mean, I don't know if a lot of these films actually put a lot of, like, production, like, research, so they're not, like, I mean, even I don't do that necessarily. I just kind of make it.
Really? You just kind
Yeah.
of create these fantastic, like,
Yeah,
you
as long
know.
as it doesn't sound too ridiculous,
Okay.
like, and I didn't not buy it. I didn't buy that, like, because he called up the like the lady at the, I guess, at the police office or something, and
Like the front desk
like,
lady.
secretary,
Is
yeah,
that
and
who?
and he was like, get my, tell my wife, blah blah blah, or something,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
I don't think that was at the forest rangers thing. I think that was at the police, I
No, no,
assume.
but it's sometimes there's those really weird small mountain towns, and I forget what show this is reminding me of, but it's where, like, there's one doctor in all of town, or like two police officers for the entire, like, county,
Right.
like maybe it's that kind of rural situation.
Yeah, I mean, if it's that small, I mean, it was interesting that, I guess, the whole idea of the fire, and the spoilers ahead, I guess, because we're gonna probably spoil a lot of it. Um, the
I have a
idea.
lot of questions about this movie, so.
Well, the guy started the fire so that he could basically burn down the land, so he could make, right, because at the end you find out
Wait,
who
I missed
burned the
this
fire down.
part. Okay, who started it?
Oh, it was the guy that was working with the mayor. That was talking with the mayor. Like I think his name was Dale or something.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? He
I don't know where I went for
yeah,
this part of the
Dale.
movie.
Okay,
Like,
so Dale Davis is this like a character who is in there talking and trying to show the mayor all the different stuff that this new town could bring, you know, like this
oh
if
yeah.
they do that. And he was the one who did it because at the end of the movie, after the place blows up and everything and the Sasquatch is killed and everything,
Hmm.
he looks over and he notices that the guy's talking about the land and all this other stuff, and he puts it together, two and two together, and is like walks over there and says, "Hey, I know you're the one who did this, and I bought," you know, and he like socks him or something. You know, I don't know if you remember that at all or not, but
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know where I went. I may have like just left the audio going because time was starting to run away from us, and I just wanted to like
Yeah, it's okay. Uh,
Anyways, I saw the very, very end.
you did see the explosion, right, and everything. Okay, so it's
They
like
they have
literally
some really
right
fun
after.
pyrotechnics.
It was literally right after the explosion happens, and he's like, remember he was sitting at the car with his wife.
Oh, right.
He
Okay.
looks over, and that guy comes with the mayor, and they're just chit chatting, and he was like, he's the one who did it. And he walks
Yeah.
over and he's, you know, which was so sort of like that was telling the audience and not showing the audience, just sort of a bad, you know, kind of B movie mistake that people
Yeah.
is like, I mean, all you had to do was him kind of give that look up and walk over there and say something to him, you know.
Right.
Didn't need to actually say, physically say, he was the one who did it, you know, which I guess sometimes people throw that in there because they're afraid people won't get it, you know, or whatever. But
Well, I mean, that's part of the fun of being a visual storyteller, right?
mhm,
Like you're supposed to like show, not
not
just
tell.
tell. And if you feel like you have to tell them, well, then maybe you should consider, reworking the visual
Mhm.
aspect to like, it's like in action, how can we show this? Like, don't tell me.
Now, who was your favorite character?
Hmm.
Did you have
Probably
one?
the weird little science guy.
You like the science guy?
I
I
do.
I like the hunter. I love the.
I mean,
I love.
I like them together. I
Okay,
really do.
like it's like Abbott and Costello.
And for both different reasons. Like I love the little science guy because I feel like they nailed his character.
Right,
Like just this super determined geeky like researcher, and it's like nerd versus uh
Braun.
yeah, nerd versus brawn, and of course the hunter guy. And I'm sorry, I'm like the worst with names. I'm trying to pull the IMDb back up so I could be like, oh
Oh,
yeah, that person.
it was
Um,
Martin Cove, man. It was like it's freaking John Kreese from the Karate Kid movies. He's in Cobra Kai, which is like one of
oh
the
yeah,
biggest like
I
things
haven't
now, right
I
now.
haven't watched Cobra Kai yet. I've heard
Oh
it's
my
really
goodness, you
good,
need to
but
watch it. It's a real. I mean, if you like the '80s and you like,
I do.
yeah, and if you like, did you like Karate Kid when, you know,
I
back
did.
in the
Yeah.
day?
Yeah.
Uh, basically it's a continuation of the Karate Kid, but it's just wonderful, and he's just amazing in it. However, I love him in everything, you know, like I've literally seen some really terrible movies that he's unfortunately been a part of, and he always elevates the films to like a new level. Like
Yeah.
he always does the greatest job he can, and
Okay.
this is actually a step
That's
above.
good. I mean, you can really only be responsible for yourself, so.
Exactly. And so if you're gonna hire somebody like Martin Cove to come in there and do it, you know. But yeah, he was wonderful. His character's name was like Jack Lund or something. You don't really hear him talk about himself much, though.
Right.
Um, interesting thing too is Lisa Wilcox from Nightmare on Elm Street. I guess she was in 4 and 5. Um, she was in it. She was the wife. So the wife of the main guy, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What is her? Okay, I'm looking at some of her stuff. I'm telling you, man, I am like really bad at this. Do not ever bring me to trivia because I will. I'm like, wait, what?
Are you just not like built for that? Do you just not like
I don't,
have that?
I don't think so, because in day-to-day life and everyday life, like, I have the hardest time remembering what people's names are. Like, I'll meet you and your name escapes me like 3 seconds later. But I could tell you, like, I could tell you what you were wearing. I could tell you what your hair looks like. You know, I can tell you everything that I see. But like, if you just tell me your name, I'd be like,
Well, I mean,
sorry.
I'm probably the exact opposite of that, because I remember like I remember names way more than anything. I can't even remember what you wore, but I can remember your name. So there you go. See, we need to hang out more, because then you can remember all the shit that I can't remember, and I can
There we
remember all the
go.
shit that
There we
you
go.
can't.
Sounds like a good team up here.
So
Be
yeah.
like, hey, Jonathan, what's his name again?
Which one? Which one are you looking for?
The one with the hair and the beard, you know, big eyes, glasses. I don't know.
You
Be
talking
like,
about Santa?
somebody had glasses? What?
What? I don't know.
I don't know.
I also liked the girl though. I thought she did a great job too.
I think she did a good job too. I want to know more of her backstory and why, like, how did she end up with this guy? You know, like,
he said she was on the streets before
right,
then.
I know. And the way he talks to her is just so gross. I really don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I didn't like it because, I mean, it sort of felt truthful to some extent. Like, there are people like that like, it's like whatever, what's that syndrome, you know, where Stockholm syndrome, yeah. So it's kind of like that, where you're kind of stuck with this person, you know, and even though they're terrible for you, you've like fallen in love with how, you know what I mean? And
you gotta be pretty screwed up in the head for that to be a thing. Ladies, inner power, come on. I feel like, you know, this was written by a man, wasn't it? No,
I don't think so. It's
really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. See, I've
wrote
always
it?
known Lynn Durzig as a person, like with a name like Lynn, Lynn. That could be a guy or a girl, you know. So I have no idea.
Let's check it out.
I don't think they have a. Yeah, there's no names as far as like, and I would love to see if it said like actor or actress, you know, but it just says self.
All right, hang on, we're doing some detective work over here. I need to know.
I'm not editing any of this, by the way. This is all
amazing.
People are gonna be like, "Oh God, are they really doing this right now? Like looking up names while they're doing a video cast?"
I mean, not all of them, just certain individuals. Well, because I wanna know, and honestly, like, I don't know. I didn't really watch this ahead of time. I watched it today. All right. I mean, I started watching it a couple times, but I kept falling asleep. I guess that's what I get for
because
putting it on.
Movie or.
No. Well, I was also, like, you know, climbing into bed. So it was
usually kind of does that for you.
Yeah. Like, well, maybe it'll keep me awake.
Maybe. No, didn't work.
Okay. I want to Google this person, but not. There we go. Okay. There's a David Lynn Drizik.
Nope.
No.
It's just Lynn, I think. I don't think so.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I just want to know.
Yeah. If it was written by a man, but like it, I can't tell.
I don't know. Just that dialogue, like some of the dialogue, I'm just like, what the?
Also, it was written by a Nancy Gideon. So I'm guessing that's a female,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I did have a cat at one point that
named Nancy. Uh-oh. I lost you for a second.
one day.
Okay. You're back. Sorry, I lost you for a second. I don't know. My internet's been acting up lately. So
mine too. What's going on with that? Like, I just got a notification that said internet unstable.
That's what mine said too earlier. So, I don't know.
Is it Zoom? Is it us?
I don't know. Maybe it's California itself. I don't know. We're both in LA. So
probably, man. Right?
Alrighty. So I don't know. Like
it totally derailed us.
Yeah. So now I think it was written by men and either a woman or two women.
Yes.
And so it did feel sort of like that. Like it felt like it was.
I mean, I'm sure it was supposed to be written. Like you don't write that kind of dialogue on accident unless you're kind of a terrible person. But I just thought it was really interesting, the various couple dynamics that we have in this movie. And, I don't know why it is I chose like those things to focus on while watching this. It was just like, it's like super pregnant wife to the police officer, forest ranger type dude, and like even how he describes her to his colleagues as being, as big as a watermelon at fair time. Yeah, I'm just like, what year is this? Where are you guys, and what year is this? Because you're dressed like this is 2000 something in BFE, but you're talking about each other, or your lingo is
like 1950s or something.
Yeah, it was quite antiquated.
Oh, well, and also like today's like movie stuff. Things have definitely changed a lot with the way that you can talk and the way that you can, act or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I
guess 2009 was long enough ago, since that's when we think they started production. I feel like it was long enough that, it wouldn't be super huge on tech and all of that. Like you got ghosts over there?
Yeah.
Well, spooky.
My roommate's dogs are pushing everything over here.
Oh.
Trying to get in here, so I'm like,
hi, doggos.
Yeah, they're get in the video, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so I guess I guess those are my questions. Is like, and why I was like, where is this located? Because is it supposed to be some super teeny tiny town that's like extremely behind on the times to where they still treat women and talk to people like that and behave this way? Because that's really weird to me. Even as a modern day movie, like, I don't know, it just feels, I don't know, it also feels forced in my opinion.
Like, yeah, no, I get it.
Like the accents, the verbiage, like none of that just felt natural. I think that's why I liked the dynamic between the nerd and the hunter so much, is because we don't like their relationship and the way they interact feels more natural than most of the others that we encounter in the movie, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. They were sort of the comedic group, like the ones that kind of made the movie a little bit more fun because they brought the comedy to it.
Absolutely.
I loved like every time he the hunter didn't get his way or whatever, he was like,
just throw temper tantrums.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave then. You don't need me, right? And the other guy's like, yeah, exactly. The other guy's just like, okay, come back.
It's like, let's reason with science now, like.
Oh my God! That hunter did not like the science stuff at all.
He probably doesn't think that global warming's a thing either.
I don't know what he believes, but it was interesting because I always, for some reason, always remembered him like, I always thought he was like the sheriff of the town originally so I hadn't seen it in so long. So that's what I was assuming, right? Because usually
Yeah.
when you have
So
a sort of a name like that,
do
you
we
kind of put him
think
in that.
do we think that after his spoiler, do we this whole thing's just going to be full of spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Do we think that after his dad died, like did he just like live in the forest by himself and like figure out how to survive, like a wolf child or something this whole time? Like, because he doesn't seem to have I mean, we see his house or his space, his shed that he's in, and it's just like you see all these like these tools and these weird things, and it's almost like, are we looking at a killer here right now?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's what I thought. Like that's generally the signs of a serial killer.
right. So I'm like, is he a serial killer? But we're not talking about him. We don't like explore his story too much until he's like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Actually, like, my mom died, and then my dad ran into the forest, and then Bigfoot ate my dad.
Now that would have been a great twist, though. Like if he were a serial killer that was pretending to be a hunter, and he was killing off everybody, and then
Now, yeah.
but he didn't believe that there was an actual Sasquatch out there. He was just saying he did and everything.
Yeah.
Then when the Sasquatch actually came for him, he would be like, "Oh shit," like
Yeah.
you would get it. I would have loved that, but that's probably where I would have gone, in my head if I could
Right.
stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't, like I knew it was obviously a Bigfoot movie, but when I'm seeing this guy's shed, I'm just like, what the hell? I mean, I also watch a lot of random true crime, or like, serial killer things. So
yeah, I know a lot of
Bloody
people
Room.
who just watch serial killer documentaries all night. And
What?
go to bed too. Like I know people who actually watch it to go to bed, to go to sleep. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, that's me. That's me. I don't. I'm like, okay, that guy's killing this person. Cool. Good night.
that's
Hope you guys
wonderful.
solved that one.
Oh boy. I don't know. I don't do that. But I do like serial killer documentaries. Occasionally. I just need to be,
In the right headspace for it.
yeah, like, I mean, I write horror films, but like, I'm not trying to like write these, like, serious, like, get inside the head of a serial killer movies.
I think it's fascinating. Like, I really think that the psychology behind like what these people are doing. I want to know why. Like, what makes you tick? You are so fucked up. Like, it fascinates me.
My roommate's dog just ran back in and out. If you saw that, like,
I did it. I was.
you were deep in thought.
I
Like,
was. I was deep in thought about the psychology behind serial killers.
there's no psychology behind Sasquatches. They just
There is though. There has to be. Like, what happened in your brain that turns you into a serial killer? Like, that's either some really fucked up trauma at some point, or like,
right. Um,
there's psychology behind everything.
there
But
is.
that's another story for another day.
Okay,
We're
so
trying to
to get
talk about
back on
stuff right
track.
now.
So back on track. The Sasquatch did look pretty cool. I was pretty impressed by.
I think they did the creature work was good. I liked that.
And I liked when he jumped from tree to tree and stuff. Like, and the coolest part of the whole thing, I thought, was that you got to see him run all fours, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty neat, like, because you don't really see Sasquatch doing that. He's generally just walking, or
Right. You usually just see him standing.
right.
So that was pretty cool to see him in almost more of like a wolf or bear like state.
Yeah, there was a time where I was gonna work on a script called I think it was called Where Squatch or something. You know, it's a werewolf Sasquatch.
Yes. Absurdity.
I mean, you love that though, which
I
I
do.
think I think honestly, I think the biggest problem with me choosing this movie for you was that it wasn't absurd enough for you.
I
You
think
know?
so. Like it was absurd, but it like tried to take itself seriously.
Well, I mean, most of those do, though. Look at Birdemic. They really tried to take themselves seriously and failed miserably. You
That's
know,
true. That's true.
like,
But I like the ones that are kind of making fun of themselves.
yeah, we talked earlier about things killing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like a perfect kind of
That's
example.
that's just like demented comedy.
Well, I mean, then you look at movies like Sharknado, you
Oh my
know,
God.
and things
I
like
know
that.
people who worked on those.
I know, I do too. And you know, Sharknado or like was it Lava Lantula? You
Yes.
know, like I mean, after a while, you just know these are not taking themselves too seriously. However, they sort of do. Like if you
Right.
look at the first Sharknado, it was sort of serious. I mean, they had to like pretend like, oh my God, there are actual sharks, you know, swimming on the land, you know, and everything, and it was ridiculous. Savage sort of was not like that, you know. Um, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It took itself a lot, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I do have to give it some credit though, because at one point, like, I kind of forgot I was watching a movie. You know, like I was just watching it and I was just, it's
Yeah.
almost like you're watching some bizarre little life and you're like, what?
What
What do
is
you
going on?
what
Well,
do you
especially when you get into like the husband and wife out in the middle of like nowhere, and they're just talking about their stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I felt like I was watching somebody's horrible, terrible life, and I was have to
Yeah.
sit through
I
it.
mean, I did feel like I was watching a very fucked up relationship, and I'm just like, oh, honey, like, fuck that guy. He sucks. Can we just, like, whack him with one of those guns you're trying to bury right now?
Exactly. Or like you know, later when he dies, did you see she didn't really have that much like sadness to it, you know?
I
Like
mean,
I mean,
and I don't know if I don't know if that was the character not being sad or as an actor if she just couldn't deliver that level of emotion. You know, like I don't know her body of work very well,
right.
so like I can't, I don't know what she's capable of as an actress, and I don't know, I don't want to put it on one person or another, but just like watching her respond to some of this stuff, it was just like it felt very flat. And it's like, okay, is it flat because you actually don't give a shit about this guy? And if you don't give a shit about this guy, why didn't you beat the shit out of him and steal his stuff already? Because clearly, like, even this ranger guy says you strike him as a survivalist. Like, girl, you got this. You just robbed a bank in Atlanta. Like, you good.
And she was the one who actually killed somebody, not him.
Right. I'm
Like,
like, you're killing people, you're robbing banks, and then you're going to put up with this shit? No.
yeah, that does seem a little contradictory.
Right?
Like,
I'm like, she's portrayed as such a badass, but then but I guess if you're that desperate for love, um,
well, it's not just like she said something about family too, which made me
yeah,
go, maybe like she lived on the streets, she was an orphan, maybe she just needed somebody to like basically adopt her in a way, and like in a way that like she got married to him, like she's connected to the guy. I mean, at the end, it didn't even see. What kind of disappointed me was like you get to kind of know this character enough or whatever, and then she like says, oh, I'm just gonna like sacrifice myself and you know and everything, and I'm like, I kind of wish that it would have been like the scientist who sacrificed himself or
in
somebody
the
like
name of
that.
science. Then
Right.
I would be so proud.
I know. But like, you know what I mean? Because like her doing it seemed like we just followed her life and now she's just willing to just die and, you know what I mean? Just to save a bunch of people she doesn't even know, you know? Like, really? Like,
Well, she did seem like she was pretty down on herself, you
Oh,
know.
she was going to jail too, so because
What?
she was going to jail after this. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
so
if your options are sacrifice yourself to the Sam Squamch, um, um, please tell me you know what that's from.
I've heard it before, but I have no idea.
Trailer Park Boys.
Okay, yeah, I have friends who like that show.
Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, I guess if your options are get eaten by, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sam Squamch, whatever, Boogeyman, or go to jail for probably the rest of your life for homicide and grand, what would that be? Larcen? I don't know.
Yeah, grand larceny, I think, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably, I'd probably want to die too. So I don't think that her doing that was so wrong at the character, but just like, I really don't understand her bond with this guy. I don't know. She's like, it seemed like her and the scientist were kind of hitting it off. So I was hoping like she'd run off with him and whatever, but
You're hoping there would be like a romantic twist to the.
yeah, what's wrong with a little romantic side quest? Come on, let's get it. Let's get it interesting, guys.
The funny thing is, like, a lot of people are getting tired of that in films, like, especially in a horror.
Yeah,
People
I
hate that
mean,
because a lot of times it doesn't work. For the two people.
right.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it would be a totally different story if she ended up somehow involved with the science guy. Like, I get that. I think I was just like getting a little bored, and I was like, oh, look at that. Like, he's got a super soft side, and he's like trying to tell her like to, that it's okay that you've made mistakes, and like, I don't know, he was just like Mr. Science Guy and all positive and stuff. I was like, that's cute.
aw. Sadly.
He just seemed like a much better fit for her than the last guy.
Right.
So,
I mean, I just watched Little Shop of Horrors again. I hadn't seen that forever,
I love
and
that movie. That's one of my faves.
I watched the director's cut. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where,
Yeah, I think so.
like, where the ending is like really dark and fucked up and
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But anyway, I was watching that, going, "Oh, poor Seymour," like he's such a sweet guy, and unfortunately, all that. So, I mean, I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
know. The nice guy never wins.
Yeah, and that reminds me, maybe there was a little Shop of Horrors in this movie, because there's the dentist guy in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah.
There's this
Yeah.
other guy that's a jerk, and there's the really sweet girl who would do anything for the other guy, for the guy
Right.
that treats her like trash. And then there's the
I mean,
uh,
it's definitely a stereotype amongst how some people choose to date.
right.
Can't say
What's
that.
also could happen to like real people. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying is like some people, some people are attracted to that, and usually it's because you have some deep rooted issues.
Like insecurity issues, right, or something,
Yeah, some
and
insecurity issues, maybe some Freudian issues, who knows? Somebody somewhere fucked you up, and now you feel like you don't deserve anything better than this freaking garbage. And so you're so desperate for wanting somebody to love you and pay attention to you that you just become subservient to whatever.
exactly.
Choose
I don't
that
know.
down to that.
I know. I have no idea, because like me myself personally, I have no idea what type I really am.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm still trying to figure that shit out. I'm 38 and haven't figured that out. That's kind of bad, but like, I guess,
You'll get there.
yeah. So I mean, when it comes to these movies, I can definitely identify like where that person is, what that person is, and obviously the scientist guy was like the nerdy but sweet, genuinely nice guy that she
Right.
should end up with.
He definitely seemed like he was trying to, or not trying to, but like he lived his life on kind of like the up and up and his own little honor code, because it was like, you know, when our hunter guy, our dentist, is asking for the money up front right when they get into the woods, you know, he's kind of like, up front, like, you want all the money right now? Okay. You know, like, he's not used to dealing in weird cash operations when they're like, no, put the money, or put the bag with all the money on the ground, and then we'll meet you. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
You know, he was just kind of like, no, like, we do this thing together and then we'll like figure it out. And they're like, no, money now. Yeah, I don't know. And then he's like, you really should just learn to, you know, you really need to give into some science. You can't always just trust your instincts. I'm like, oh, little dude, you're hilarious.
Those two, I swear to God, they're like Abbott and Costello. Like they're just such a like dynamic team right there, comedy team. And the funniest thing is like what is it? The hunter, you know, the hunter guy and the scientist, they like the hunter himself is actually more like a just a like dry kind of thing. Like he had a couple of good lines in there, but like his humor wasn't very based on like making jokes, you know.
No, and I couldn't tell if I was supposed to be laughing at him or with him at times, you know, but I just like, he really didn't seem, I don't know, he just didn't seem super personable. He didn't seem like he really interacted with like a ton of people. His verbiage, like his own personal dialect, was very like woods person, you know, like the hills have eyes.
Yeah. Like he grew up, like you said, he probably grew up in
Yeah, like he was just left out there to, you know, fend for himself and figure it out. Which, you know, by the time we get around to that story, then it's like you want to be sympathetic with this guy, you know, and you almost feel bad for him now for a second, because you're like, oh, like maybe you've had a really rough life. Bigfoot stole your family basically, and you had to live here. What is he doing in the beginning of the movie when we meet him? Like, do we think he's a trapper?
That's what I thought. Like, that's what I got from it after,
Okay.
because at first I didn't know. And I was just like, what's he doing with all the animals and the skins
Yeah.
and all that stuff? But then when you find out he's a hunter, you know, I'm like, okay, he's skinned all these animals. But I'm like, it must be really weird. Like, it's weird to like have the character be skinning stuff and like doing that, but like having that huge smile, like grin on his face. What?
He put it on his face.
Yeah.
Like when it was, he like yanks it off and then he like lovingly puts it. I'm like,
you're right. It might be serial killer shit. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I have no
okay,
idea.
well,
But
now we need his story. You know, I'm gonna need a film.
a prequel with
Yeah.
well, I think the prequel would be kind of boring. I mean, it would just be him going in the woods and hunting stuff, you know, because
I
like
mean, not necessarily. Like you could make some really interesting things happen. Like, I feel like the town's gone through a lot, you know, like we're looking at the map, and the map's from 1963, and science guys like, oh, you know, it's an outdated map, and then hunter guys like, land doesn't change, the things that occupy it do. So what happened? Like,
he's a disgruntled you know.
he's a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
But he's not even that old. He's just grumpy.
Yeah.
Um,
He's a grumpy man. Like he really is, but
I mean, if Bigfoot stole your family, wouldn't you be grumpy too, though?
yeah, well, he stole his dad. I guess his dad was the only thing left and everything. So yeah, it does beg me to wonder, like, what happened after?
Right.
Like, because
That's why I'm like,
Bigfoot,
what is his story? What happened between his dad dying and now that turned him into this weird, he's been in the woods this whole time. Has he been hunting Bigfoot this whole time and he hasn't found him? Why
well,
now?
remember, he hasn't found him because the
Because he
woods.
doesn't have science.
No, well, I mean that too, but no, because the woods were on fire. Remember, so that was kind of pushing things that weren't, typically out, that were hiding out into the.
Oh, yeah, the fire.
But what also happens at the end of the movie is when they have that hunters, whatever it's called, Hunter's City or whatever, like at the end where there's all these cars lined up to go into the new
Oh,
city.
yeah, because season's starting.
And then you hear the growl, so there's
Yeah.
obviously another savage Sasquatch out there, so I don't know. I think that would have been a better title for it, by the way, Savage Sasquatch, because like just savage doesn't tell you enough about what,
Right? I'm like, what kind of savage are we talking about here? What's going to
It
happen?
could have literally been that guy the whole time murdering people and eating them or something.
I would have believed it.
Like, you see his teeth? Jeez, Poor Martin Cove's teeth.
I gotta say, some of the character makeup in this was on point. Like, it was great. The teeth work.
As a makeup artist yourself, were you like at all going and looking at it going, oh my God, like,
yes.
I can't believe.
Oh, absolutely. It's really hard for me to watch things and not do that.
Really?
Which is fun when I do lose track of the fact that I'm watching a movie and I feel like I'm just peering into somebody else's weird little life, because I do enjoy just watching things. So like I grew up pretty much watching horror and sci-fi with my dad every weekend. We'd go to the video store and I wouldn't know what anything was. I would just pick out like, anything that was like haunted or, supposed to be spooky, scary monsters. Like I was so into that. And obviously now I do makeup for a living, and especially for film and television. So it's like the child eyes have kind of been like put, and now I'm looking for the imperfections, like where can we improve, like who needs what. I'm like, oh, like their jawline's a bit shiny, like maybe they needed a little more powder. Are they supposed to look sweaty? Like what's going on there? As if I'm like sitting behind monitor like watching something. But sometimes I just enjoy watching it and not thinking about it.
I think sometimes you gotta just turn your brain off because your brain would go like 100 miles a minute. I know as a writer, like I'll see something or whatever, just the story. Sometimes I'll be like, like why do they write that? Like why do they do that? And I like now I just learned how to turn my brain off when I'm watching it, because otherwise
I think maybe I'm just getting better at the whole turning the brain off thing to watch a movie. I think maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe that sounds like it.
Well,
overall, what did you think of the movie? Period. Like, did you enjoy it?
It was. I mean, I did enjoy it. It was ultimately a fun watch. I had a lot of questions about what was going on, but like I enjoy picking movies like this apart. So it was fun. It's a new project. What is happening? I would need to understand.
Exactly.
What about you? What was your?
I mean,
you've seen it a couple times, right?
I had seen it before. I think I'd only seen it once before. I bought it. So I have the DVD, but ended up just watching it on Tubi because it's easier than finding the DVD and everything.
The commercials on Tubi, I will say, kind of make it hard.
Right. And I'll agree with that. because there's like it's literally like watching a movie on a satellite or something, or whatever, because you'll watch it for
Satellite did
like
not have
20.
commercials.
Some satellite do, like DirecTV,
Oh
like
yeah,
ABC or something
yeah,
will have commercials. But, even those I don't feel like are as long as sometimes these are. Because this was like,
right.
they will have like 5 commercials, and
Oh, I
then they'll do
forget
it
what
like
it's.
every 20 minutes.
I forget what it's called. Okay, you watched it on Tubi this time around, right?
Right.
Did you see? I'm wondering if it's the same commercials attached to the film all the time. Um, there was this one like Swedish commercial. I think it was Swedish. It was like
Mhm. I'm trying to
it was
remember.
about Swedish shopping. I don't know.
Probably. I don't
It
remember.
was so
I
it was so bizarre. And like the end of the ad just like lingers for a while. And it's like the name of the company and these just like Swedish mannequins. And it's like all in like 1960s pastels. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Now
This
I
does
need to
not
watch
belong
that.
in this movie.
I think that sounds like more interesting than
I know.
probably the film was.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but no, I honestly I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. It's
Yeah.
but it's funny now because like I'm gonna be doing a bunch of other ones on these, and some of the Tubi movies are on Amazon, so I'd rather watch it on Amazon so I don't
Oh,
have to
for
deal with
sure.
the commercials and stuff. But I always tell people about Tubi or Amazon because if it's on Tubi, sometimes it's just on Tubi, and they'll
Okay.
or whatever. And
Is Tubi a new thing? What is Tubi? This was my first like I had to download Tubi
oh,
to
wow, is your first time on Tubi?
yeah.
It's been around for a little bit, but not for
Okay.
too long. And a lot
Is
of
it a
like
horror
B movies.
platform or
No, no, no. It's everything. It's
oh,
actually now owned by Fox. So
oh,
originally it wasn't, and they would put a lot of like independent stuff on there, B movies and whatnot, and they still do. And I think they're still going to keep that going. I hope,
okay.
but they're also putting big movies like Hunger Games and stuff like that
You
on
know, I
there.
I do appreciate though that what's the other one that is Shudder?
Shutter.
I appreciate that there's becoming more and more platforms for these tiny little indie B movies to go places. Like I do appreciate that.
Well, back in like the early 2000s, there was Netflix actually did put a lot of them out there and stuff, and
Oh
then
yeah?
and then Netflix changed their format, and now they're mainly originals and stuff, and
Right.
more like mainstream stuff. So they've kind of left a lot of the indie stuff, but I think you could still rent them on DVD. You just and I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody anymore. Maybe a couple people that actually still do the DVDs.
I know one person.
One
I
person.
know one person and we make fun of him for it all the time. It's like this ongoing joke in our friend group. It's like because he also doesn't have an outgoing mailbox at his place.
So how does he get it?
Well, he has an incoming mailbox, but like
So
when
then he
you
has to
live,
go to the post
okay,
office.
so right, that's an option, but he won't. He doesn't do that. Another one of our friends lives like in a different area where there's like one of those big blue like mail things like
All
on the
right.
corner like on his way to a hiking trail that he does all the time. And so it's like one buddy will hand the DVD over to the other buddy. He's like, hey, could you put this in the mailbox for and we're
Wow.
just like, dude, what year is this? See,
Uh,
like he also doesn't use like a lot of the new music platforms like Spotify or anything like that. He just like he lives in a before time, and
right.
it's
Oh
really
my
funny
god.
because he's the only person I know that gets the DVD.
That's actually funny. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's
your
pretty great.
your friend is an interesting character there yourself. So there you go.
Yes.
But I like. I mean, I still think like if I did buy those or rent those, I would rather just go to Redbox. Because most of the time I'm just looking for the newer stuff anyway. and
Okay.
Redbox.
I was gonna say, I mean, I haven't rented from Redbox in probably 12 years now.
Has it been around that long?
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. I remember when I was in, when I was in beauty school back in like 06, 07, we were renting things from Redbox.
That's when I started podcasting, 06, So late 06.
I don't think I even knew what a podcast was.
I didn't either until I started doing it,
Okay.
It was literally becoming a thing at that time.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I mean, I think I was consumed with MySpace and concerts at that time.
Definitely consumed with MySpace. That's how I got all my people onto the shows and stuff. Yeah. So now it's Facebook.
Back in the OG MySpace days.
Now it's Facebook or Instagram, but before it was MySpace, and I went back to try to look at one of my old MySpaces, and I was like, this.
Can you still access your old MySpaces?
I can. It's just kind of a pain. It's like, I think you have to remember your password and your email.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Like, I think I did it once, and I mean, there's not much you can do with it or whatever.
No, I mean, just the public view. If you, at one point, I remembered the URL to one of my MySpaces.
Yeah.
But that was 1.5 million years ago.
Oh Lord. Oh man. That's how I met my roommate, actually, is through MySpace, and that's, back in the day,
Wow, you guys have been roommates for that long?
No. Like, we didn't meet and become roommates, but we became roommates this year, but like we've known each other since the MySpace days. So
wow.
Like, that's almost like its own like thing that you can say, like, I've known that person since the MySpace days, and it's like, and then people are like, oh wow, that's a long time ago.
I think I have one friend currently that I've known since then. Well, no, maybe a couple. Just like one that I have seen recently, so that's why I'm like, well, maybe.
I have a question for you.
What's that?
Were they on your top 8?
No.
Oh wow! Oh, that's funny.
Well, it's a funny kind of personal story about how she and I became friends. Basically, it involved a really skeezy guy, and they were dating for some time, and then apparently, like, and I'm talking years, and then they were on some sort of break. But right. I did not know that, and then I met said guy, and we started dating.
Oh, wow.
But, like, it was like, are we dating? Are we not dating? Like, it was a very, like, I don't know. It was a very confusing situation, but he would not give me his social media. He's like, no.
That is very sketchy right there.
Yeah. Right? I was like, so then I had to do some detective work.
You just have to look up the person's name.
Well, it's a bit more than that.
I know. If you really like, we don't need to go into all of the sordid details of what you did, but I'm just, that's.
Well, no, I looked it up basically, and then found his page, and then found her page, and found the relationship status, and all of that, and well, to say the least, neither one of those relationships ended up working out, but now she and I are good friends.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It had a happy ending.
It did. I'm glad ultimately it all worked out the way that it did.
And nobody was eaten by a Sasquatch.
Nobody got eaten by a Sasquatch.
In this story.
Not
yet. Not yet. The day is still young. It is 2020, by the way.
It's 2020, man. Like, anything is possible. Yeah. We're waiting for the season finale to see what's what.
Oh my God. I am like wondering what is going to be the end of 2020 itself. I mean,
I've really been enjoying the new 2021 memes that I saw today. Actually, I don't think I'd seen them previously, but saw somebody today post, what if 2021 asks 2020 to hold its beer?
oh God. Well,
Like,
I saw a meme that said that Archangel Gabriel, was told by God, to work on 2020, the year 2020. He meant the whole decade. He goes, "Oh, whoops! I thought you just meant the 1 year." And so he put a whole decade's worth of stuff in 1 year, and I thought that was kind of funny, because it's what it feels like. It feels like this is just like one big decade worth of crap.
But Gabriel, I thought he was a good guy. No,
Are you thinking like Supernatural or something, or like the show Supernatural? But
no, I'm thinking like the Archangel Gabriel.
He's the angel of like creation and stuff.
Okay,
so he's the one who,
I'm like so not a religious person. So
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's sort of what he would be, the person to the archangel to do that, to be the one who's in charge of that. So they were right with that. But yeah.
So just the 1 year. Just
yeah, and of course it's
well, and if he is if we're just gonna run with this plot line here, if he is the archangel of creation, and he put all this craziness into 2020, does that mean that it's creating something better? Like
maybe
is this a time of metamorphosis and these are simply growing pains?
I think you're going way too I don't know, into it.
Let me dive into it. Let me just I'll dive in. We're gonna spin it around.
You're overthinking a little bit, but I don't know. I know that
it's a 2020. It's
it is. Year. Yeah, it's a pretty wild year. But I mean,
But we haven't been eaten by a Sasquatch yet.
Yeah. So. If a Sasquatch burst into your house right now, I wouldn't be surprised, because that's just the way things are going.
Shit. All
right, well,
like a forested zone right behind my apartment. Sam Squamps, you out there?
We have talked for like more than an hour.
Oh wow! Okay. I guess we've reviewed Savage.
So I just want to thank you. I'm gonna have you stay on afterwards to thank you again, but I want to say thank you guys for checking this out. This is on these days we don't really talk about, like, we give our little reviews. We talk about what we like, what we didn't like, whatever. We don't review. Like there's no rating or anything. I don't want to do that for this one.
We could give it a rating.
I don't want to do that, because then, it's just a fun 31 days. This is kind of a way for me to watch 31 movies that either I haven't seen or I have seen that I enjoyed or haven't seen in a while. So yeah, we watched Hatchet last night.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah, great movie. We did that for the day 3. So day 4's Savage. I think day 5 is going to be Uncle John as a zombie or something. So yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
Can we come back? Like,
you can come back. Yes.
I mean, I'm down to hang out and talk about some zombie movies.
All right, let's get you back on soon. And we might have you with another guest too. I might do that at some point.
Be fun.
Yeah. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks
is great. For having me. This is super fun.
Yeah, I got to know you a lot better.
What?
We all got to know you a lot better through this.
Hey, not. I don't feel like that many people get to experience this side of my brain all the time. So you're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you once again. And thanks everybody for checking this out. Tune in tomorrow and then the next day. And then, all the way up to 31 days.
We're only at day 4.
I know. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be
It's gonna be great.
I know.
It's gonna be great.
Also, like, I'm very much like so busy with tons of stuff, so I just tend to like think, oh,
The internet's freaking out again.
yeah. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys, and thank you guys for checking this out, and have a good one. Subscribe if you haven't.
Time.
Yep. See you next time. Bye.